A large number of people are afraid of flying on an airplane. The mere thought of having to fly somewhere spoils their mood. Many before the flight begin to look for information about which planes and airlines are the most reliable and safe. Read soothing articles about the fact that an airplane is the safest form of transport and that the chance of getting into a plane crash is equal to one case in a million flights. But every time you board a plane you feel a feeling of hopelessness. You begin to listen to yourself, pay attention to details and look for signs. There's a guy sitting there with a skull on his t-shirt, and behind him a child is crying. And maybe you can still get out and go by train, but no, there are no trains going there. You can stay here to live. But everyone closed the door, the engines are humming, and the pilot is muttering something. At this moment it always seems that he is not sure about something. Why in flight school they don't teach you to have a commanding, confident voice? All these thoughts are confused in your head and these statistics are no longer of interest. You understand that the plane will either fly or not. If that happens, all these safety systems, oxygen masks and vests under the seats are unlikely to help. It all depends only on the technical condition of the aircraft and the skill of the pilots, and this is where the statistics can change dramatically. For example, if one airline has an old fleet of vehicles with a poor level of pilot skill and a dozen accidents, and another airline has new modern aircraft and not a single serious incident, then the chances of getting into trouble change dramatically. But in global accident statistics it will still be the same chance in a million. I think you understand what we are talking about. In general, let's try to figure out which planes are the most reliable and which airlines are the safest. According to World Transport Statistics, an airliner is the safest vehicle. According to statistics, the largest number of fatal accidents occur in cars and trains, while air transport is at the bottom of the list in terms of the frequency of such incidents. Surely everyone who hears this information will object that almost every family now has a car and uses it almost every day, while much fewer people use airplanes at the same minute, and cars are different. If you spend money on an expensive SUV with heaps security systems, then the chance of entering the statistics of the number of victims of car accidents will become even less. While on the plane, if it happens, everyone is equal, both business class and super economy. Airplane crashes are rare, but due to the large number of passengers, such events cause serious resonance in society. On this basis, fears and phobias of flying develop. But in order to understand which type of transport is the most dangerous, there is a global ranking of the number of human casualties per kilometers traveled. For example, the maximum number of fatalities occurs in cars. There is 1 human victim per 10 million kilometers. For trains this value is half as low, and the lowest rate is for airplanes, only 1 victim per 30 million kilometers. Thus, air transport is the most safe way to cover long distances. Despite all these statistics, airplanes still cause the greatest anxiety among passengers, and psychologists explain it this way: when a person assesses the risks, he always thinks that this will happen to anyone but him. For example, when a train gets into a major accident, there is always a big percentage of survivors. It is precisely these percentages of lucky people that everyone puts themselves in. It is important for a person to understand that even if something happens to this train, then his chances of staying alive are great, or if an oncoming car hits his Land Cruiser or Lexus 570, then his chances of surviving in this world, they are not small either. In the case of an airplane, everyone who entered it will either all get out together, or they will all become 0.1% in the global ranking of incidents. The only reassuring factors can be the reputation of the airline, the reliability of the aircraft and the qualifications of the pilots. These factors directly depend on the development of the country in which the airline belongs, because as practice shows, the largest number of air disasters occur in companies belonging to poor countries. As a rule, such airlines have an old fleet of vehicles, the planes do not receive proper maintenance, components and mechanisms are not changed in a timely manner, but work to failure. Hence the sad statistics. Because planes don't just crash, they have to be helped by a person. There is always a human factor. In most cases, passenger air travel is carried out by Boeing and Airbus aircraft. Boeing is manufactured by an American company that produces various airliners that have both external differences and different technical characteristics. Airbus is manufactured in Europe. Along with Boeing, the airliners of this company are considered leaders in safety criteria. When asked which is the safest aircraft in the world, All ratings unanimously answer the Boeing 777. Depending on the configuration, of which there are 6, the Boeing 777 is designed for 305 to 550 passengers. This family of aircraft is designed for long-distance flights and has a flight range of up to 17,500 kilometers. It was Boeing of this model that set the record for the maximum flight range among passenger aircraft, 21,601 kilometers. The model has been produced since 1995. Today, about 1,500 Boeing 777 airliners of various configurations are in operation. During operation, 7 Boeing 777 aircraft were lost in accidents and disasters, killing 541 people. The second place in the ranking of the safest passenger aircraft is deservedly occupied by the Airbus A340 model. In total, there are 4 modifications of this airliner, which differ in technical characteristics. The production of these aircraft began in 1993 and continues to this day. There are a total of 341 A340 model aircraft in operation. According to statistics, the A340 is the most reliable Airbus aircraft. It is highly safe, but due to the high cost of maintaining an airliner, not many airlines give it preference. Over all the years of operation of the aircraft, only 5 accidents occurred, all of them without loss of life. Thus, the Airbus A340 is rightfully considered one of the safest aircraft in the world. In 1994, in Paris, due to technical problems, a fire started in the cabin of the plane while it was being towed to the terminal. In 2001, an airliner was destroyed in Colombo as a result of the actions of a terrorist organization. In 2005, a plane caught fire while landing in Toronto. Due to adverse weather conditions and crew error, the plane went off the runway. As a result of the accident, several dozen passengers were injured, but no one was killed. In 2007, there were 2 accidents involving the A340 in Quito and Toulouse. In the first case, the accident was caused by a tire explosion. In the second case, the cause of the accident was a crew error. Both disasters resulted in no casualties and no one was injured. As you can see, the majority of accidents involving the A340 are associated with erroneous actions of the crew or malfunction of equipment in the airliner. Due to the lack of human casualties, the A340 could top the list of the safest airliners. Preference is given to the Boeing 777 due to the fact that there are more of them in service than the A340. Based on reliability criteria, both models from competing companies should be ranked first in air transport safety ratings. In third place in terms of safety is the good Airbus A330 aircraft. The airliner is designed for passenger flights over medium and long distances. Production of aircraft of this model began in 1993 to date. 1,450 aircraft have been produced. The A330 was considered the safest aircraft until 2009, when the first large-scale plane crash occurred, claiming a large number of lives. There are a total of 8 incidents involving this aircraft. The first incident occurred in 1994 due to pilot error. In this case, 7 crew members died. Another airliner was taken out of service in 2000 due to fuselage corrosion caused by exposure to aggressive chemicals. In 2001, 2 vehicles were destroyed as a result of terrorist attacks. In 2014, 2 more aircraft were damaged as a result of fighting in Libya. All these disasters occurred without loss of life. The first large-scale plane crash involving an Airbus 330 occurred in 2009 over the Atlantic. The crash occurred as a result of the failure of speed sensors. The liner fell into the waters of the Atlantic Ocean, killing 228 people. In 2010, an A330 plane crashed due to erroneous actions by the crew during an approach to land in thick fog. The accident killed 103 people out of 104 passengers on the plane. By the way, this is the rare case when someone manages to survive after a crash, and this case is far from isolated. This was discussed in one of the previous videos. Once the world's first wide-body, double-deck passenger airliner, the Boeing 747 is now the 4th safest aircraft in the world. The first flight of this aircraft took place back in 1969. To date, 935 aircraft of this model are in operation. The 747 is the most recognizable passenger aircraft in the world, as it is the model most often featured in Hollywood films. Over the many years of production, the Boeing 747 has been involved in many accidents, but the aircraft is still considered one of the most reliable in the world. In most cases, the causes of plane crashes involving a Boeing 747 are due to wear and tear of aircraft parts, poor quality repairs and crew errors. Therefore, it all depends on the individual airline and the responsibility of its employees. Fifth place in the ranking of the most reliable aircraft is occupied by the Boeing 737NG model. Today, this aircraft is one of the most popular in total. More than 7,000 aircraft of this model were produced. The 737NG is an improved model of the once sought-after Boeing 737, which had a less than stellar reputation. The letters NG in the name stand for new generation and indicate that the new model is better and more modern than the classic Boeing 737. Among the reliable and proven aircraft, we can also highlight such models as the Boeing 767, 757, 737, Airbus 320, and MD-11. The Airbus 320 has been produced from 1988 to the present. This model is the main competitor of the Boeing 737, as today there are more than 3,500 Airbus 320 airliners in service. The McDonnell Douglas MD-11 was produced between 1990 and 2001. To date, 186 aircraft of this model are in operation. Despite the high reliability indicators, this model became one of the main disappointments of the manufacturing company due to high operating costs. In general, as practice shows, the larger the airline that owns the aircraft, the better its technical condition. The best airlines are concerned about their own image, so their airliners undergo preventive maintenance in a timely manner. The image acquired over many years of trouble-free operation serves as the best advertisement for the airline in competitive rivalry. Well, that's all for today. Thank you all for watching. If it was interesting, support the video with likes. Thank you for subscribing, and take a look at what else we have prepared for you.